Jessica Carter had always prided herself on being a perceptive woman. At 32, she had built a stable life, a successful career as a financial analyst, a cozy house in the suburbs of Chicago, and a loving husband, Daniel, whom she had met in college. They had been married for 6 years, and though their relationship wasn't perfect, she had always believed in their love. That was until one Tuesday afternoon, when a simple decision to come home early unraveled everything. Jessica had left work early, citing a headache. The truth was, she had been feeling uneasy all morning, a nagging sensation in her gut that something was off. Daniel had been distant lately, canceling their weekend plans with vague excuses. "Work is just crazy right now," he'd say, flashing that charming smile that used to make her melt. But lately, it felt rehearsed. She pulled into their driveway, the late autumn leaves crunching under her boots. The house was quiet, too quiet. Daniel had texted her earlier that he was working from home, claiming he needed to focus without office distractions. Jessica stepped inside, careful not to make noise. She wasn't sure why she was tiptoeing, maybe some subconscious instinct warning her. Then she heard it, his voice, not the warm, affectionate tone he used with her, but something lower, intimate, playful. "Don't worry, babe," Daniel murmured from the study. "She has no idea. Thinks I'm just stressed from work. Honestly, it's almost too easy." Jessica froze. A sharp, icy sensation spread through her chest, as if someone had plunged a knife between her ribs and twisted. Yeah, I know," he continued, chuckling. "But hey, the house is in my name. Even if she finds out, what's she gonna do? She's got nowhere to go." Her breath hitched. For a moment, she considered barging in, screaming, throwing something, anything to shatter the illusion. But instead, she stood there, gripping the strap of her purse so tightly her knuckles turned white. Then, silently, she turned around and walked out. The next few hours passed in a blur. Jessica drove aimlessly, her mind replaying his words on a loop. "It's almost too easy. She's got nowhere to go." Oh, had she been that blind? That foolish? She pulled over in a quiet park, the same one where Daniel had proposed to her under a canopy of twinkling lights. Back then, he had looked at her like she was the only woman in the world. Now, the memory made her sick. Her phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Hey, just checking in. You okay?" She stared at the screen. The audacity, the casualness of it, as if he hadn't just shattered her entire reality. Jessica didn't reply. Instead, she called the one person she knew would give her straight advice, her older sister, Rachel. "Pack a bag," Rachel said immediately. "Don't confront him yet. Get your documents, anything important. Then come to my place." Jessica followed the instructions mechanically. By the time she returned home that evening, Daniel was sprawled on the couch, watching a game. "Hey, you," he said, smiling. "You never texted me back. Everything all right?" She looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. "I heard you," she said quietly. His smile faltered. "Heard what?" "Your phone call. Earlier." A beat of silence. Then, the mask slipped. "Jess, whatever you think you heard, save it." She cut him off, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "I'm done." The divorce was messy. Daniel, who had once claimed to love her, fought her over every penny. The house, the savings, even the damn coffee maker. But Jessica refused to back down. She moved into a small apartment downtown, threw herself into work, and started therapy. Slowly, she rebuilt herself not as Daniel's wife, but as Jessica. 2 years later, she launched her own financial consulting firm. It was risky, but she had learned the hard way that playing it safe didn't guarantee happiness. Then, one evening, as she was closing up her office, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "Jessica?" Daniel's voice. Her stomach clenched. "What do you want?" A pause. Then, quietly. "I messed up. I lost everything." She almost laughed. "No," she said softly. "You didn't lose everything. You lost me." And with that, she hung up, because Jessica Carter was no longer the woman who believed empty promises. She was someone stronger, someone free. Jessica had always thought she knew what heartbreak felt like. She had cried over breakups in college, over rejections, over disappointments, but nothing compared to the hollow, gnawing ache of betrayal, the kind that seeped into your bones and made you question every memory, every touch, every whispered "I love you." The first few weeks after leaving Daniel were the hardest. She stayed with Rachel, sleeping on the couch, mechanically going through her days like a ghost. Her sister didn't push her to talk, just made sure she ate, showered, and occasionally stepped outside. One night, Rachel sat beside her with 2 glasses of wine. "You're allowed to be angry," she said. Jessica stared at the ceiling. "I don't even know what I am." "Then figure it out. But don't let him take you from you." Something in those words clicked. The next morning, Jessica made a list. 1. Get my own place. 2. Rebuild my savings. 3. Never let anyone make me feel small again. Apartment hunting in Chicago wasn't easy, but she found a tiny studio in a walk-up building near the Loop. It had creaky floors and a view of a brick wall, but it was hers. No shared mortgage, no memories of Daniel. Work became her anchor. She had always been good at her job, meticulous, analytical, the kind of person who could spot a financial discrepancy from a mile away. But now, she threw herself into it with a ferocity that surprised even her. Her boss noticed. "You've been killing it lately, Mark," her manager said one afternoon. "Clients love you. I'm putting you up for promotion." Jessica should have been thrilled. Instead, she felt nothing. That night, she sat on her futon, scrolling through old photos on her phone. Pictures of her and Daniel at weddings, on vacations, laughing over stupid inside jokes. Had any of it been real? She deleted them all. Then came the legal battles. Daniel, ever the strategist, fought dirty. He claimed she had contributed nothing to their assets, that the house was his because his name was on the deed. His lawyer sent aggressive emails, demanding she drop any claims to their joint savings. Jessica's attorney, a no-nonsense woman named Lorraine, smirked when she saw the paperwork. "Oh, he's good," she said, "but not good enough." Lorraine dug into everything: bank records, tax returns, even the Venmo transactions Daniel had carelessly left visible. Turns out, he hadn't been as smart as he thought. "You transferred 20 to a Melissa R. every month for the past year," Lorraine said in court, raising an eyebrow. "Care to explain?" Daniel paled. The judge wasn't amused. By the time it was over, Jessica walked away with half of their savings, her car, and most importantly, her freedom. Daniel kept the house. She hoped it felt as empty as he was. A year after the divorce, Jessica found herself standing in front of a small storefront on Milwaukee Avenue, keys digging into her palm. The for lease sign had been hanging there for months, but today, it was coming down. "You're really doing this?" Rachel asked, leaning against her car with crossed arms. Jessica jiggled the key in the stubborn lock. "I'm really doing this." The door finally gave way with a groan, revealing a dusty, sunlit space with peeling wallpaper and scuffed hardwood floors. "Perfect. Welcome to Carter Financial Consulting," she murmured to herself. Starting her own firm had been a pipe dream back when she was married. Daniel had always dismissed it. "Why take the risk? Your salary is good enough." Now, the risk was all hers. The first few months were brutal. She worked out of the empty office with just a folding table and her laptop, surviving on takeout and determination. Old clients from her corporate job trickled in, impressed by her bold move. Word spread. By month 6, she had hired her first employee, a sharp-eyed recent grad named Maya, who reminded Jessica of herself 10 years ago. One rainy Thursday, as Jessica was reviewing a client's portfolio, Maya poked her head in. "There's a guy here to see you. Says it's personal?" Jessica frowned. "Name?" "Wouldn't give one. But he's intense." She walked out to the reception area and froze. Daniel. He looked different, thinner, his once perfect hair slightly unkempt. But his eyes were the same. That deep blue that used to make her stomach flutter. Now, it just made her nauseous. "What are you doing here?" she asked flatly. He shifted on his feet. "I heard about your firm. Wanted to congratulate you." A bitter laugh escaped her. 5 years together and you never supported my career. Now you show up?" "I know I messed up, Jess. Don't," she cut him off. "Whatever this is, I'm not interested." He reached into his coat pocket. Her body tensed, ridiculous, but the instinct was there. Instead of whatever she feared, he pulled out a folded check. "I sold the house," he said quietly. "This is your half. More than the court ordered, I thought. Maybe it could help with." He gestured vaguely at the office. Jessica stared at the check. 6 figures. Enough to hire another staff member, maybe even expand. Her pride warred with practicality. Finally, she took it. "This doesn't change anything." "I know," he said. And for the first time, Daniel looked like he truly understood what he'd lost. As he turned to leave, Maya's voice piped up from her desk. "Mr. Carter? Your umbrella." Jessica didn't correct the name. The check from Daniel sat in Jessica's desk drawer for 2 weeks before she deposited it. She told herself it wasn't about him. It was about what she was owed. The money went into a business expansion account, untouched. She wasn't sure what she was saving it for, but it felt like a quiet victory every time she checked the balance. Meanwhile, Carter Financial Consulting was thriving. She had taken on 3 new employees, leased a proper office space, and even landed a feature in Chicago Business Weekly. The article called her a rising star in independent financial advising, a phrase she had Rachel frame for her. Then, on an unremarkable Tuesday, he walked in. Not Daniel, Nathan Carter. No relation, just a twist of fate that the man now standing in her reception area shared her ex-husband's last name. He was tall, with warm brown eyes and a slight crinkle at their corners when he smiled, which he was doing now as he extended his hand. "Miss Carter?" "Nathan Carter." "I've heard great things about your firm." Jessica blinked. "You're not a client." "Not yet," he said, pulling out a business card. "I'm with the Chicago Small Business Development Center. We're looking for financial partners for a new grant program." Maya, Ever the perceptive assistant was already pouring coffee. Nathan turned out to be exactly who he appeared. Genuine, sharp, and refreshingly uncomplicated. Over the next few weeks, as they worked together on the grant project, Jessica found herself laughing more than she had in years. He didn't flirt, didn't push, just treated her like an equal. It was nice. Then came the gala. The SBDC's annual fundraiser was held at the Art Institute, all champagne and string quartets. Jessica wore a navy dress she'd bought on a whim, and when Nathan saw her, his breath audibly hitched. "You clean up well, Carter," he teased. "Back at you, Carter," she shot back, smoothing his slightly crooked tie. They were laughing when she felt it a prickling on the back of her neck. Someone was watching. She turned. Across the room, Daniel stood frozen near the entrance, his date's hand on his arm. The woman, pretty, blonde, probably the infamous Melissa R., leaned in to say something, but Daniel wasn't listening. His eyes were locked on Jessica. Nathan followed her gaze. "You know him." "Ex-husband," she said simply. To his credit, Nathan didn't react beyond a nod. "Want to leave?" Jessica surprised herself by shaking her head. "No, I'm exactly where I want to be," and she meant it. Daniel approached her later, alone, while Nathan was fetching drinks. "You look happy," he said. It wasn't an accusation, just an observation. "I am." A pause. Then quietly, "I'm glad." Jessica studied him, really studied him for the first time since the divorce. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something almost like humility. "Why did you really give me that money, Daniel?" He exhaled. "Because you deserved it. Because I was an ass. Because—" He glanced toward Nathan, who was now making his way back through the crowd. "Because I hope someone treats you the way I should have." Jessica felt something inside her loosen a knot she hadn't realized was still tied. "Thank you," she said. And for the first time, she didn't hate him. On the walk home, Nathan laced his fingers through hers. "You okay?" Jessica tilted her face up to the stars. "Better than okay." 3 years ago, a phone call had shattered her life. Tonight, under the same sky, she realized the pieces had come back together. Different, stronger, hers.